Hey guys, okay, so this is seriously the third time I've tried to film this video, and I just hated the way the other two came out, but here we go. So my name is Molly, and for those of you who don't know, I am a social science education major, which pretty much means I can teach from 6th to 12th grade, any of the social sciences, in between, everything in between. I'm pretty much going to be certified when I graduate. Today I wanted to come on here and talk about my Internship 1, or my first experience with student teaching. So every program and major and state has different requirements for pre-service teachers, and in my College of Education's requirement, you have to do 2 student teaching experiences. The first one is what we call Internship 1, which is what I just completed, and it's 2 days a week that you're in the classroom. And then the second one is Internship 2, which I start in January, and it's Monday through Friday. From the start of the day to the end of the planning period, it's pretty intense. So today I just kind of wanted to go on and talk about my expectations that I had for Internship 1, the realities, and maybe some advice for you guys who are going into internship or even student teaching, Internship 2 for you guys. A little bit about my placement. I was placed in a Title I high school and a World History AP and regular class. So there were 4 periods of AP and then 2 periods of standard World History. So I don't know if did I say that they're 10th graders? They're 10th graders too, so I'll throw that out there. A lot of people were like, oh my god, you got a Title I school, but frankly I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a really good eye-opening experience for me because I couldn't even tell that they were Title I. Like, I really wouldn't be able to have told the difference from Title I to the high school that I went to, which was definitely not Title I. So the supervising teacher that I had been teaching for 5 years. He was the lead teacher for all world history classes, and he and I did not have the same personality. He was a really great guy, super amazing classroom management. I really respect him, but looking back at my experience, I definitely wish I had changed some things from the get-go. So a lot of your experience that you're going to have with your student teaching is going to be based off your placement, because being placed in a 6th grade middle school ancient history class is going to be very different than my 10th grade AP world history class. It's just the way it is. There's different personalities with every teacher, so when I talk about my experience, keep in mind that it's not going to be the same as yours, which isn't a bad thing, and it's not a good thing either. It's just different. A couple of expectations, and by a couple I mean probably a lot of expectations, going into student teaching, just because I really was excited. I think I was a little too excited. Most education majors look forward to their student teaching because it's like the time that you actually get to experience, you get to build relationships with students, all that fun stuff. And that was definitely me. One expectation that I definitely had was being really well incorporated into the classroom. And by that I mean teaching once a week, taking attendance, saying kids' names, greeting them, talking, having a, pretty much, let me put it like this. If you've ever seen the movie Freedom Writers, that's pretty much what I expected my life to be like. I definitely overemphasized the amount of interaction that I would have with students and the experiences that I would have with them. And I guess I just thought in my head it was going to be a lot more than it was. And that's okay. But I definitely want to come in here and say that if you're doing an Internship 1 where you're in the classroom for 2 days a week, don't expect to change kids' lives. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Just don't, because you totally can. And I've heard from my classmates that they have had great experiences with certain students, and that it's totally possible, but I just don't want people to go in thinking that it's going to be something when it's not. So I definitely thought that I was going to be teaching at least once a week, and for my internship, you had to teach a minimum of twice, that's it. So I actually ended up teaching more than the minimum, but it was definitely sporadic and far and in between, and it's I appreciate the experience that I was even able to have, because I know some people only taught twice. It just wasn't what I expected. And so I also understand that with AP, it's nearly impossible to just jump into an AP class. I honestly think it's a disservice to the student teachers to be placed into an AP class because there's so much at stake. It's so, I just feel like the supervising teachers have a really hard time incorporating you, and I wish that it wasn't the case. But in my school, I have an extremely large college, or university I should say, and there's a lot of student teachers who are going into the counties around us. And so the chances of you getting an AP class are very high. So I just wish it wasn't the way that it is, but it kind of just is going to be like that forever. Another reality check that I kind of had was, you're not that important to these students. You might love your students and just really appreciate them and their humor and the amount they try, and I love seeing them learn the content. Like, I was surprised by how much joy I really got when they understood something. Like, you would think that my baby just walked for the first time. I loved it so much, and I feel very passionate about my subject area, and I'm excited to teach it. But these kids, to them, you're just like some college kid who's coming in twice a week, and they really could care less about you. Now, granted, I had 10th grade students, and if you think back to your 16-year-old self, like, do you really think you cared about a college intern? Do you really think you cared? For middle school placements, I'm pretty sure that it's a very different situation, and I know for elementary ed majors, it's a different situation. Like, I love y'all elementary ed majors, but y'all just we have different experiences. It's just the case. So just keep that in mind, that you might not have a beautiful, heartfelt Hollywood moment with a student, but as long as you still really care about your kids and you're putting effort into their learning, it doesn't really matter what they think of you, because in the end, like, why would you care what they thought of you, you know? Okay, on the real, one reality that you should expect with student teaching, and even observing, because I did this a lot while I was, like, doing service learning hours, a lot of grading. Like, I would say every single classmate that I've had who's also an internship one, we've all talked about it. The one unifying factor is that all the teachers give you all their grading. And they totally should, because you should have to do the grunt work. I mean, it's good practice, it keeps you busy, but that's not the only thing you should be doing, you know? But that's a reality that you should face, is that you're going to be grading everything. And honestly, take it with a good heart. Be excited about it. This is what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. And maybe one day you'll get an intern to, like, do all your grading for a semester. Who knows? But that's definitely something you just have to go in and expect. Okay, so now I have some advice for students who might be going into their student teaching experience. Definitely, if I could just go back and change anything, I would have thought more about my expectations for Internship 1. In the beginning, my supervising teacher pretty much was just like, well, what do you want to get out of this? And I hadn't put it to that much thought. I kind of was like, well, I want to be better at teaching, you know, like, that's what I want to do. I really wish I had thought about it more and had come in prepared. I think it would have changed a lot of what would have been occurring in my Internship 1. I definitely wish I had come in with, like, okay, well, I would really like to be teaching once a week, or I would like to lead this, you know. If I could have done that, I think my initiative would have changed some things about my supervising teacher's personality, and we could have gotten things accomplished. So definitely come in with some expectations of what you want to learn, what you want to accomplish, what you want to get better at. For me, I did know that I wanted to learn better classroom management, and I think I did that, and my supervising teacher was like, baller at classroom management, like, no problems ever. Like, ever. I was like, this isn't even real. So I did feel like that, but I would have liked to come in with, like, 3 points to work on. So definitely come in with your expectations and talk about them with your supervising teacher early on. My second piece of advice is, don't be shy to incorporate yourself and to try to make an effort to be incorporated in the classroom. We were told at our service, like, going into Internship 1, that we are a guest in the classroom and we really need to respect that. And I totally agree. But in my case, my supervising teacher, I was his first intern. So he didn't know what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. Obviously, he was an intern 1 at one point, and we had talked about that. But I think that it's okay to be a little assertive, and I wish I had been more assertive, like I said, because that's really not me. But if you have the confidence, you can fake it until you make it. I mean, it doesn't hurt to try. You're only hurting yourself by not trying. And I just wish I had knew that earlier on in the semester. And lastly, take it for what it is. You're intern 1. Like, as much as you would like to think, you're not the classroom teacher. You're not an intern 2 where you're there 5 days a week. It's a way to get your foot in the door, get some experience, practice teaching an actual lesson, start to finish, in front of a classroom. It's a good experience. It's sometimes really boring, sometimes really stinks, but everyone has to go through it, and it's only going to make you a better teacher. The reason why they have this program designed for it is so that way you become a better classroom teacher. So I hope all of this advice and expectations and realities really help you guys understand like what you're going to be going into. If you've already been an intern 1 or you're an intern 2, you're going into internship 2, share your experiences and advice with me. I would love to hear them, as well as I would like to hear how your college or university sets up the college ed program. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.